Stay. Yes, there we go. Okay. Hello, my name is Kelly, and joining me today we have...
Javier.
And?
Gentry.
And this is another Midnight Showings. We just got out of Insurgent. No, wait, sorry. I said that wrong. They assume their audience is stupid. So, they have to say the full title. The Divergent series, Insurgent. Because no one could figure out that this is a sequel.
I thought it was a sequel.
I read the books. So.
So we'll be calling on you a lot. I know you don't want that, but
It's been a while since we read the second one, though. So.
yeah. So non-spoiler version. My final verdict is, unless you were actually a fan of the books, don't go see it. I wasn't impressed with the first one, and I didn't like this one. So, your guys' final verdict on it before we go into spoilers?
As a fan of the book, I did like it a lot. I mean, it was a pretty good mix of staying close to the book as well as making it their own. So it was a good mix.
Even with the MacGuffin box?
Yeah,
that's
that
really
was a little weird.
That's really what it was.
Just about opening the box.
Yeah.
I think it was okay. I mean, considering that I haven't read any of the books, they had enough action to keep you entertained. And there wasn't as many pauses as I was expecting for the movie to have. So it was it wasn't bad. It was good.
It was good?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that was non-spoiler version. Going into the spoiler section, because there's a lot to talk about, like the tween porn.
Oh, goodness.
But, yeah, for those who don't know, it's the end of the world as we know it. And the last bit of humanity has created the perfect system. Nowhere near as good as anything Isaac Asimov could come up with, but whatever. And Divergence threatened the system. And they tried to... The whole climax of the last movie has been blamed on Trish for Caleb and... What's Miles Teller's name again? Peter?
Yeah.
Peter.
Tris, by the way.
That's what I said.
You said Trish. Just kidding.
Gosh darn it!
Remember, it was a spoiler version, so...
Why can't they just come up with real names? I'm sorry. Between this and Johann Roche, I'm sorry, they're not... Come up with real names.
Kind of. People try to be unique with their names in books. They do.
Yeah, like Brandon Sanderson, the one I'm reading right now, Waxlium.
That's a
different
good one.
Everyone just calls him Wax. But his friend, the funniest and probably the best part of that book, is called Wayne.
That's awesome.
Wayne?
Yeah.
It's very, very normal.
Yeah, very, very normal. Exactly. No, we need a super rushing. But yeah, so everything that happened was blamed on them. They're in hiding, and they went to abdication.
No, they're not in abdication. They're in the Amity.
And Amity.
Amity. Yes.
Okay, again with the name thing.
Yeah, those.
It was easy with Harry Potter. None of them sounded the same. Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, and Ravenclaw. I'm sorry, they're all distinct. None of them start with the same letters. They're so much easier to remember. But yeah, so they're hiding out, and honestly, stuff happens. It doesn't really feel like they had an overall arc here. At first, they're looking for the rest of Dauntless, and then the MacGuffin box in the background, and honestly, my biggest complaint with this is that there's only one person in this whole movie that seems like they're doing anything, and that's Trish.
Tris. Her real name's Beatrice, if that helps.
Beatrice. Beatrice.
Yeah.
We'll call her Beatrice. It's easier. Now I'm not confusing with another name. But yeah, Shailene Woodley. That's her real name, right? Shailene Woodley. She did an amazing job.
She's good.
I really did like her, especially the scene at
Candor.
What?
Again, with the names.
Again with the names. I'm trying to remember these things, but I can't. But yeah, the scene with her when she's giving her testimony under the Truth Serum,
That part's pretty intense.
that is probably the best scene in the movie. It really is. But again, it seems like she's the only one that's doing anything in this whole movie.
The only one moving it forward.
Yeah, I mean, Kate Winslet, her entire role is, I'm evil, say something evil, check, do evil things. Bye. I can even make arguments for the supporting cast. Miles Teller is phoning it in. The funnest part with him is at the end when he just goes, when he's like, when I just like, Peter, yeah, I call him Miles Teller because he was inside of another really, really good movie that you two need to watch called Whiplash.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you guys actually saw the video that me and DJ did on that, but yeah, go watch that film. You can tell that Miles Teller did not care about this, probably because he was inside of an Oscar-nominated and award-winning film with J.K. Simmons, even though J.K. Simmons throws a chair at him.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, he had some fun near the end, but the whole beginning part. Apparently, I'm the dick. I'm in the movie. Bye.
No.
And then he shows up randomly at the end, and the biggest offender is the guy who played Caleb. I don't know his name.
Oh, I should know this.
He was in Fault in Our Stars.
He was in Fault in Our Stars, which, can I just say, it's really, really weird to go see a film where they're actively making out with each other, and then see another film where they're brother and sister.
This is
Did
where
you know
she's
she's also played the love interest of Peter, too, in a different movie? Shailene Woodley and him have also been like love interest, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but they've been, so she's played love interest with like both of them before.
She's literally made out with every guy in this movie. Oh my lord! I would make some unnecessary jokes, but you don't want me to say anything that harsh right now. I heard your reviews of my 50 Shades video, and I'm trying to keep it down low.
Yeah, I was telling him that in the movie. I was like, that's kind of funny, because, yeah, she's...
Freaking lady.
It's okay, I get around.
Kidding. Every time that she would separate from somebody, I'm like, does that count as a breakup, or is that just,
She probably has a blank space in her burn book.
There you go. Oh, my goodness.
They had Taylor Swift playing, so, but, yeah, his is the worst offender of all. He literally is on screen doing nothing until he leaves, and he just randomly shows up in the back to have this big traitor reveal thing, and he does nothing. You seeing a pattern here?
Well, he does get the other guy facial recognition. Then he walks out of the room.
That's Miles Teller.
Oh, that's the other guy. You're talking about Caleb.
Caleb, yeah.
No, he did kill somebody.
He is the logical one, though, if you think about it. He was supposed to be the, like, logical one, and so, like, I don't know. So he...
Yeah, because everything she was doing was too sporadic, according to him.
Yeah, and it was just too out of his comfort zone, so...
So that's why he left.
But in at the same vein, that whole scene where he shows up, you can tell he's just shoehorned in there. Yeah. They left the goddamn door open and gave her a gun. She could have walked out of that room and gotten her revenge.
I think that was the funniest part about it all, because he, like, shows up, and she was in shock, because she's like, what are you doing here? And I think that's why they did it, just to make sure that she would stay. Like, give her a reason to not go anywhere.
But even at the same time, there's a better way of doing that. I mean, when Miles Teller puts her inside of that stupid cell... Why didn't he just push her onto the disc, then walk out? She wasn't resisting, she wasn't doing anything, and then once he's out, the door shuts, then the lights come on and reveal evil Kate Winslet and her brother standing behind there. The shock factor would have still been there, and you would have spared us about 5 minutes of nothing. That's another big problem with the film, in my opinion, is that why does it feel the need to be exactly 2 hours? Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1 did the same exact thing. Why do you have to be 2 hours on the dot? There's so many times when the scene could be summed up and done so much more logically just by shortening it just a little bit. And it probably would have raised tension and raised the stakes, kept us more invested into it because of how fast it was happening. I don't know.
I think they try to squeeze too many things into. I'd like to say too many things into one because they can stretch it out either way.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours worth, but
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things where they want you sitting down for that amount of time. They want to make you feel like you actually paid for 2 hours worth of movie, rather than an hour and a half of the same amount that they could have done in one. You know, because they could cut it back. I mean, there's a lot of things that they could cut back in any of the shows.
But at the same time, if it makes it better, wouldn't it be better to make it maybe just an hour 40, 45 minutes and cut just cut those scenes just a little bit, and you still get the shock factor. You still get the person being there. Is it required in their contract they have so many times where they have to be in this? We're the only one inside the shot.
Well, another thing though about her like being able to escape and stuff is she went there willingly, so it's not like she's gonna put up a huge fight to leave because she technically went there willingly.
But then why did she take Miles Teller's gun?
Because he was being a douchebag.
Admittedly, he was being a douchebag, and he probably deserved what he was getting.
Because even though she went there willingly, she still didn't want her to win. I mean, but she's not. Like I said, she went there willingly, so she.
Why didn't she take the gun to the box then? It's in the room with her, which didn't make much sense either. It just that scene.
Yeah,
It's starting to get dark. Let's get some light in here.
There's the two up front too.
Mine don't work. Oh my gosh!
Let there be light.
I'm in a different car, as you can see this time. My car, I have to replace this entire box to get those lights to work. I tried changing the bulbs, everything. It's the full section, but yeah, I mean, I don't hate this movie. I'm just kind of disappointed that I wanted there to be more substance, but the supporting cast isn't there to support the Shailene Woodley's pretty damn amazing performance inside of this. I'm not gonna lie. In a much better action film, I would really like her. I'd really like her. Hell, put her in the next Expendables as one of the newbies. I could totally see that. And that's one of the problems I had with the first movie is that you set up this character who's supposed to be strong-willed, who could truly, fight and do all these other things, and then she had to keep getting saved by her boyfriend.
But I think she was still learning the ropes, though, too. That was kind of the thing. I mean, in the end, she becomes a strong person because she finally lets herself kind of get in there and do it. But I think she was still I felt like she was pretty sheltered in the first one.
Yeah.
She couldn't from abnegation, which is like...
So it's like one of those where they don't do anything, almost, but...
Will you forgive everybody? Thank you, the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to see her develop into this one. Because I think that's kind of what it leads up to, is that in this one she knows what she wants, but yet she still has that little, fear within herself, kind of that factor in there that still technically makes her human.
Yeah.
Is what, what I think is kind of cool about it. So, but it is really cool to see her kick some butt because she did. So,
how fun would those stunts be? Holy cow! In that movie.
But you could actually tell that half the time those stunts were being done by CGI doubles. And that's another part.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Especially
The sim, that sim cording. And they showed all of that in the trailers too.
They did. I know. I thought the trailers were always so weird because all it ever showed was the sim stuff, and you're like, okay, where's the story?
I mean, it's not as useless as the Hunger Games Part 2 trailer that we got for this movie. I hate it. Okay, I hated it when Avengers did it. I hate it when Hunger Games does it. I hate it when movies do this. If you're gonna have a teaser or a trailer, tease and trailer something. Don't just show us the symbol of the movie. Hey, look, this is gonna be on the box art.
They did super early. I don't think they had anything for the last Hunger Games until like August.
That's true. I think they're just trying to get you to...
They had another one of the previews, kind of like this one.
Did they?
Inside, actually, I think it was inside the trailer for the first Divergent.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah. That was the first time I saw it.
Oh, but they only did the bird on fire. They just transformed it, wasn't it?
That, yeah.
This one actually had the background from the first movie, then some second movie dialogue.
Going in through all the symbols from all the movies, morphing from everything.
That was actually kind of cool.
I'll agree that was a little bit cooler.
It was a little bit different,
but at the same time, it's just the same thing they did with Avengers, where they're spinning Ultron's head. We already know Ultron's in this movie. It's called Age of Ultron. Spinning his head does nothing. Back on track. Sorry.
What about those crazy ball things that go into their skin and like those things are creepy.
That was actually kind of cool.
Oh my gosh.
But
It was too advanced.
If they should have done that at the beginning of the movie. It should have been something introduced near the beginning of the movie, so that it's introduced, and then in the second act of it, they're actually trying to find and introduce, and then finally in the third act, when they finally have something, but they introduce them, she runs away, and they're magically solved.
Gone. Yeah.
It just seemed like it was a good
yeah.
idea, but it was a plot point that went nowhere.
I think the only reason that they had those is because they were trying to show that she had progressed from beyond the rule of everybody else, like that's kind of like the last resort kind of weapon, and she used it without, as
that
just
scene,
trying
like
to do
in the
that.
book, is so cool. I remember reading that and just thinking it was so crazy. Like when everybody starts like all of a sudden dropping, and like it has the little girl in the book too, and that part was really cool. Yeah, she's like.
It's crazy.
Could I just say though that they make no sense?
That what?
Okay, so she can specifically send out radio controls to take over any of them at any given time to tell them to drop themselves off the nearest cliff. Why doesn't she just use this same technology to take over, say, Triss? I said that right? Right.
She can't because she's a divergent.
Okay, say take over 4. Take over 4 and have him point a gun at her and force her out. It seems like
the biggest things they couldn't find him though.
But if you can turn them on individually like that, why not?
But he didn't.
If it was more,
I guess they didn't show in the movie that he got
Does it ever say in
shot.
the movies that he's a divergent?
No, it hasn't said anything about it.
Is it?
he said he wanted to be divergent in the first one. But I don't think that he actually.
In the book, he is.
He is.
So that's why. Well,
Like,
he
I
is.
was super
He's mastered 4 of them. Isn't that why they call him 4?
No, the fears.
Is the fears? I had it the other way around. I thought it was. But maybe he's a higher percentage. Even if you're 10%, you saw that guy.
Yeah.
The guy that they. I mean. Well, anyway, one of the guys that was there, he was 10%, and that device didn't do anything to him. So even if you have a certain percent
it didn't knock him out. But the other girls, they woke up too. There
were a couple other people.
The friend is the one that was trying to kill herself. What's her name? They hug right at the beginning when they get to
Was it
Christina?
Christina?
Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But she's not divergent though.
It just.
That's the thing. I think it's just one of those things where it just didn't affect them. So it was just kind of like more of a piercing rather than an actual control device.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the only reason why. I mean, it's kind of weird anyway. Which I would have thought they would have left that towards the end, like you're saying. Maybe still trying to figure out how to do it. Maybe they got it out of one of them or something random, but it took
like experimenting, show people like getting hurt from failed attempts or something like
Weren't
that.
you just complaining about how the movie was too long?
Well,
kidding.
I was complaining that they had scenes that went nowhere long for no reason, but that actually establishes them doing something in the film. And obviously, evil person end up being obviously evil was no twist. I'm sorry. She was probably more menacingly evil than Kate Winslet in this movie, and her role consists of being Ben Kingsley. Walking around, I'm evil, bye.
It was kind of random.
But, yeah, I mean, there were just so many other plot points that just went nowhere. And they were at Amity?
Amity.
Amity. They were at Amity in the beginning. That whole political stuff that was set up with the leader who's under protest, who does nothing and doesn't appear anywhere else in the film. The secret alliance with Cantor after the assault. Would you think that if Kate Winslet authorized a direct assault on a faction that is proven to be honest, it might send up red flags for the other 3 that are remaining. Oh wait, 2. One of them was destroyed in the first film. But again, it just seemed there were plot points that just went nowhere, and there's a lot of them. But then we have scenes like the prison, the stupid little open the box.
That's the hard thing about turning books into
What's in
movies,
the
though.
box? What's in the box?
Because you know in the book it explains all that stuff and it goes into more detail about it. That's the hardest part about turning books into movies, is because you have these little things that get left out and they aren't explained. But,
Yeah, because it's just, there's so much more to it than that. But sadly, sometimes it almost feels like you said, they focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Like they could have done like a 3-minute explanation of this and then, kind of gone along with it and, continued with it, but at least you would have gotten the sense that you understand it a little bit better. But sometimes they don't do that.
Even if they don't even necessarily have to explain it. They just have to explain that the characters in the background are doing something.
Yeah.
They need to explain that, this alliance with Cantor actually does have him be the reason why everyone suddenly was able to storm this building without setting off any alarms. That also seemed pretty convenient at the end.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
The only other thing I think, isn't it those guys, erudites? Is it erudites?
Erudites, yeah.
Don't they have all the control devices and control room and everything to the other places? Or is that a separate?
As far as what it said in the first one is that they're the smartest, so they think that they're the fittest to government and whatnot, and they're always creating the new technology. So technologically, they're ahead of the curve, but they're not, like, from everything I saw inside of the Cantor guys, they possess stuff that could be at least a pretty dang threat. I mean, that truth serum especially, stab it into Kate Winslet and put her on camera. Yeah. It just seems like they have a way of fixing this. The only one that seemed like that they didn't have anything that they could use or whatnot was the peace lovers at the beginning from Amity.
Yeah, I think those guys pretty much stayed true to what they know. They just kind of went with the flow mostly.
You read the book. Was there supposed to be an Amish vibe from them? Because that's what I was getting.
Kind of is, yeah. They're just very in tune with like nature, and they're more like, like I said, they're kind of
like hippie Amish.
Almost kind of, yeah. They're just, that's pretty much. Like there's a lot of
they're portrayed perfectly.
It was actually really weird.
They didn't give them the black hats.
I don't know if I read it wrong or pictured it wrong, but I swear they have buildings. In this one, it seemed like everything was like outdoors and made of like almost like, I don't know.
Just the ruins around them, yeah.
Yeah, but I swear in the book, unless I was just totally picturing it wrong the whole time, I swear they actually had buildings. Because it talks about her being.
Well, she does have that wooden.
They had
city hall almost,
like she
doesn't
had
it?
her own bedroom in the book. Like, I don't know. Anyway, that's not a big deal. It's just kind of funny. I totally pictured that whole community way different. They still had that tree though. That tree in the dome though. Totally
that's part
perfect.
of it, yeah.
That was exactly how it was supposed to be.
Yeah, because that's kind of their symbol, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
And it's
they
cool. Yeah, you don't get to know that community quite as much in the movie. It's actually pretty neat because like the way they make decisions and stuff in the book is that it has to be like everybody has to agree. Like everybody, they take a vote and like they won't agree on a thing until it's everybody.
So it has to be unanimous.
Yeah,
unanimous.
Completely, and it's really kind of neat. Like it's funny to see Triss's reaction though. She's like, "What the heck? Like, these guys are crazy."
So they're basically Poland in World War II. No, sorry, that was probably going too far. But I mean, there's just a lot of those plot points that went nowhere, and the MacGuffin box.
What is a MacGuffin box? I don't get this joke.
A MacGuffin is an all-powerful object that doesn't need to be explained. It is the setup for a Deus Ex Machina from the MacGuffin. And I can't remember where the actual term MacGuffin was. I think it was actually one of the first things it actually came from. It was MacGuffin's gun or something like that. But yeah, it's such an obvious, horribly placed plot point that you know where it's going.
Yeah, I get it.
And the whole mess, so the whole time, the evil Kate Winslet is trying to get inside of this little cylindrical tube that has a picture of all the factions on it. And the only person that can open this box and retrieve the message from the founders is a Divergent. A perfect Divergent who can fit in with all 5 of the categories and pass all of their sims. Which the sims seemed really weird. Did they seem like they were self-programming inside the movie? Are they supposed to be like that in the book?
Yeah, kind of. You overcome your own,
so it analyzes your mind and sets up the scenario around it.
I actually don't even remember that. I know that's terrible. It really has been that long since I read it, but I don't even remember her going through those simulations in the book. Like, I'm trying to remember it, and I don't even remember that. I remember they're doing, like, experiments on her in the book, but for some reason I don't remember the simulations. Like, I'll have to read it. I need to read it again.
Maybe the experiments went too far for Lionsgate, and they decided simulations would be better.
Possibly. I need to go look. I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the MacGuffin box, and they finally open it, and it's a message: the Divergents were the heroes. They're gonna save society. How?
They're like the fail-safe.
Why? It doesn't make sense. And as I said, I told you on the way out of the theater, I think this is the dumbest plan since Maze Runner. And Maze Runner's plan consisted of putting a bunch of people who were immune to the disease into a maze and having robotic scorpions chase after them, injecting them with the disease to somehow create a cure?
I need to read those too.
Yeah, it just seems like this is all done very, very backwards somehow. But the whole thing about separating them off from society so they can regain what they lost. I mean, as you said, I can see some structure to it, but it still doesn't make much sense to me. And maybe there's just something I'm not seeing here. But
I bet you it explains it in the third book.
I bet you it does. I bet you it will not explain it inside of the third movie, because they'll save that for the fourth movie.
I still can't believe they're doing that. Are they really doing that?
Yes, they've confirmed that Adjutant will be split into 2 movies. And if you thought that Mockingjay was slow, repetitive, and pointless,
I did not.
I know, I was going to say, you don't say that around here.
I bought it. I like Hunger Games. I really do. But I can't stop. I have a hard time watching that Mockingjay Part 1 because there's so many obvious time fillers everywhere. Inside of here, they just had scenes that just went nowhere. Inside of Mockingjay, though, President Snow, this is Katniss, are you there? It's Katniss. President Snow, can you hear me? President Snow, this is Katniss, are you there? President Snow, this is Katniss, are you there? It's Katniss. President Snow, please respond, are you there? President Snow, it's Katniss, please respond, are you there? 10 minutes later, Katniss! We know he's going to answer! Can we... Rule of 3.
Oh my goodness.
Too few, and he jumps on too quick, and anybody will say, well, he's either got a plan or this is bad film writing. And more than 3, and it's just like, okay, he's going to answer, just get on with it. There's just so many obvious time fillers inside there, like her playing with the cat inside of there, the whole bombing, where they have to go into the whole action scene where they're trying to get into there, and they have to go back to get her sister who's running for the damn cat. I mean, obvious time. But it was obviously time filler that you could cut from the movie, and it would affect nothing on the overall plot of it. Here,
have you read the books? You don't know that.
I was going to say that's going to be the
yes. The cat is going to save the world. The cat.
No, it's not. It's not so much the cat as much as it's the attachment to it that Prim has.
Yeah.
And so it's like she knows she's going to go get the freaking cat. I mean, she understands that she's going to go chase after the freaking thing. But so, I mean, so she knows she's in danger and just kind of, she's always trying to protect her. Is the whole.
And you've read the books. We read them together.
Yeah.
It was like.
I get that, but again, from a film standpoint, if you want that to be the reason why she has to go after her, that's fine. But the whole attack leads nowhere. They end up being downstairs for playing a stupid light tag with the cat. I mean,
but it just shows that they're trying to keep their mind off of things.
Wait, why do you think the whole bombing scene is pointless? That was like PETA warning them, and it showed PETA actually like coming back to life a little bit and like actually being normal.
Are you sure about that? Because as they point out later inside of that film, they didn't know where they were. They didn't send the attack until after PETA supposedly said something. So
no, it was already on its way when he said something.
Yeah.
It just seemed like
they give them enough warning. It's kind of like a tornado, Doppler effect and all that stuff. It tells you. Like a 1-minute warning to save more lives. I think that's all they were going for. Is just that he was still there. Technically, PETA was still not 100% under control per se.
Yeah. And again, this is a bit of a tangent trying to get my point back into Insurgent, but I mean, there was just so many obvious time fillers in that movie. And I can even argue that that whole bombing scene was just that. I mean, I don't mind that there was a bombing. I just feel that everything that happened during the bombing that we focused on.
We'll see in the book how many. Isn't a full chapter, 2 chapters. There's a couple of chapters where it's just the bombing portion of it, and that's kind of what leads to them saying, "All right, well, if they're gonna try to attack us, then we're gonna go take them out." And it's not that they didn't have that incentive to do it. It just kind of makes it so that their plans get pushed forward. And so the whole thing behind it, even like for Katniss, she doesn't want to be the Mockingjay. She doesn't care to.
Yeah.
But when she sees that happen, it becomes more of an incentive to say, if I don't do anything,
who will?
Yeah, it's they're all gonna die. They're not gonna they're not gonna do anything.
Sorry, he knows what I'm talking about. He's seen Machete and Machete Kills. If not us, then who?
So yeah, I mean I think that's kind of is what it leads to being. It's just she sees all these people, how scared they are, how they've got pretty much nothing left at this point. But they know that if they actually push forward, then they might have a chance. And of course Peeta's there, so she's gonna want to get him, and that's I think that's kind of the big part of it.
So yeah, we kind of went into a tangent into another movie when I was trying to make a point about this
review
one.
a different day. We'll throw DVD extras into it too. Gag reel.
Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, I mean that can be argued. But from a film standpoint, as someone who hadn't read that book,
that's a problem.
I can tell you that scene could have been a hell of a lot shorter, but still had the same impact, in my opinion. Maybe not from all of the detailed aspect, but from a regular fan, it could have been shortened a lot. But in this film, to contrast, they just set up a bunch of plot points that went nowhere. Scenes happen, and they set up something that could happen, but then MacGuffin Box says, nope, we'll save that maybe for another movie if we want to. It's just... obvious time fillers are obvious no matter which way you put them inside of a film, and it deters from it. Let them films be shorter. I don't necessarily care that they split Hunger Games into 2. Divergent Adjutant on the other hand, well, we'll see what happens next March, but it seems like these things could be shorter but stronger but almost on the dot, just like with Mockingjay Part 1, it is on the dot 2 hours. Like they were striving very hard to make it just that. At least the bare minimum of 2 hours. If you just cut some of these scenes and maybe do them a little bit more logically, make it an hour and 40 minutes, maybe an hour and 35 minutes, the film itself would be stronger. If they were to remake Ghostbusters today, for instance, I mean, that's a good hour-and-a-half movie. A really good hour-and-a-half movie. And you can even argue the second one was, even though it basically redid the entire first one. I saw number 2 before 1, so I still love them both. But if they were to remake it today, we'd have a bunch of scenes where they're just doing nothing inside of the freaking firehouse, standing around talking, maybe making a joke or playing off of each other for a little while, just so they can get a 2-hour time mark. And the film would drag at portions for it. And I don't feel that Insurgent dragged as much inside because they were trying to set up all these plot points. It's just that there's no revolution on the plot points it's setting up, so what was the point of even setting them up in the first place?
See, and I can't even argue with you because I haven't finished the series, so for all I know.
Yeah, but I mean, with Hunger Games, it was just obviously they were trying to make this 2 hours as much as possible by showing a lot of shots and repetition and going for the cat.
I think there's just...
But yeah, so from this one, I don't say that this is a bad movie. I just say that
it was enjoyable.
I just say that unless you're a fan of the books or something, I don't see any really casual moviegoer getting anything out of this. This isn't going to make me interested in going to watch Divergent again. I mean, Divergent wasn't even interesting enough to see Divergent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I think it's different because it's if you're love the book, then you're gonna go see what the movie's about at least once. I'm not gonna say that you're gonna go twice and 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 be like, oh, the second time was better. It's not.
No.
It's definitely not one of those shows.
It's not one of those.
But I mean, for watching it one time, I think it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
There's anything can be argued about any movie having too many plot holes, but I mean,
it's not plot. It's not
it's
plot
just
holes.
the timing on it.
It's
But
just scenes that go nowhere.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, if they cut it a little bit shorter, but then again, how much more editing does that mean? How many more scenes would they have cut out? And then it always feels like even though they try not to have fillers in there, I feel like there'd be more fillers than there would be actual substance to it if they cut out certain things. And then that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
but I think that's what it feels like sometimes. I think they some movies do that. They have to fill in space for whatever reason.
Yeah,
and you're right. I mean, it's like what the crap does that have
Unfortunately,
to do
the book movies get the horrible treatment of this, especially because everyone wants to go on the Harry Potter trip. Gotta make the last book into 2 movies. Harry Potter had a legitimate excuse. It's 1,000 pages long and it's finishing up 6 other books.
Exactly.
It needed time. I don't think that they should have waited a year between releasing the 2 parts. I think that was stupid. But I do argue that from the standpoint, the first one is a perfect setup to the release of the second part. But to argue, say, Hunger Games again, there's just so much time filler in there that the setup gets lost from the repetition and the dragging and the scenes that literally just are there to meet their 2-hour time limit. I don't mind that you split it. I'm just saying, dial it back a little bit, make it a little bit more a little bit faster, and have a clear-cut stopping point. And don't release the second part a year after this one. Release it 6 months, 3 months. Hell, I would even argue just a month. It just didn't.
Okay with that?
Yeah, and then or release them together inside of a multi-watch format where people can go to see one, or they can buy a ticket to both and sit down and watch the full thing. I mean, let's face it, the Hunger Games, if you watch them back, I doubt they're going to reach 4 hours. But this one, I don't see any hope for this third one.
It makes me really curious to read the book now that they're splitting it. Like, I'm really curious to see if it really
warrants a second movie.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to milk it at this point. And just because they know that they can make it 2 movies, and it goes back to a lot of different things all over again. But
and it's freaking Lionsgate. It's Lionsgate. They're the ones who keep putting these out. They're the ones who keep buying up books and just making as many releases of them all. They are the ones who were responsible for 50 Shades. And I swear to you that when the third one finally does come out, they will split it into 2. I will bet you money that they will split it into 2 because of this stupid trend. I hope to God that they don't make the second one, but I know that for a fact they probably will.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, my verdict still stands. Says we probably should finish this up and let it get going. We've probably been going for almost an hour now. But yeah, my final verdict stands. I say that unless that you were a fan of the first one, it's not worth seeing in theaters. Maybe if it comes on TV sometime, check it out. I don't even say it's worth renting.
Well, I don't know. If you do $1.50 rental, it might not be too bad.
Maybe.
It's better than paying full price for a ticket.
It's not worth the $8 to $10 you're going to be spending in theaters down here in St. George. Or in Sandy's case, spending $15 to $20.
Crazy.
Yeah, that I still can't get over the prices there. It's the same chain. Keep consistent prices across your state.
Seriously. Unless you have a D-box for a chair in all the theaters.
Oh gosh, that
would
have been awesome. Get D-box on every seat.
There you go. You pay $15. Might as well make it enjoyable.
Exactly.
So, yeah. God. So yeah, it's overall it wasn't too bad. I mean, like I said, you have to. I think, like you said, if you enjoy, you have to kind of almost be a book lover for this one.
Yeah.
If you really enjoyed the books, I would tell you to go for it and watch it. It might be okay to spend the money, but other than that, just wait for it to come out on Redbox.
Thought it was good. It makes me want to read the second book again. So.
Yeah, I mean, if it does inspire somebody to go and check out the books, then I guess that did do everything right. But I have no interest to look at these ones, especially when I'm rereading the Mistborn stuff right now. And
I love these Mistborn.
You need to read Alloy of Law. You need to.
Yeah.
Wayne is hilarious. I know it's the most cliche name ever and so plain, but he is awesome.
I don't know, Bruce was
Him and his search for his hat. Yeah.
crazy.
His hat gets stolen. His lucky hat gets stolen. And then later, he's always just trying on a different hat. He's taking off of people.
See if he
And
can.
all the time. He's stealing people's hat and no, sorry, not stealing. Trading
He gives
for
them his for theirs.
sometimes. Other times he'll like pull out a smashed pretzel in
Oh
his
my gosh.
pocket and just place it there. He steals an aluminum gun from the constables who recovered it from the people who shot at him, and he replaced it with his own broken gun he doesn't even use. And he stole some rifle rounds and put his dueling cane there instead.
Oh my god.
He doesn't steal, he trades.
There we go.
But yeah, later in the book, assassination attempt, he ends up getting blown up. But he can store health, fomensis,
okay.
so he does survive it, and he realizes that's why I lost my lucky hat. It would have been lost inside of the explosion with my duster.
Oh,
So he's constantly trying to get his lucky hat back.
that's funny.
But yeah.
Anywho.
Really good book, by the way, if you haven't read Mistborn. But yeah, so final verdict on any of you guys. All, I say not worth seeing in theaters. You say,
If you read the books and you liked the first one, do it because it was worth. I think I enjoyed it. So
and rent it if you can, but
Yeah,
not
rent it
worth
if you can, but
theaters.
I wouldn't pay the full amount. Like I said, unless you really, really like the books, then I would tell you to go for it. But even that, you can always find it at discount theaters when it comes out. So, but yeah, full price, no.
Go to Cinema 6 with their horrible seats.
Yeah, you pay half price. You're gonna have to deal with the bad seating sometimes.
Alrighty, so as always, I'm Kelly, and see you all next time.